You can feel the tension in the country right now. There's no question about it. You had closing arguments today in the Derek Chauvin trial. Everyone understands what's at stake right now, what's likely to happen, depending on how all of this goes. And even still, if you get a guilty verdict, there may be riots. If you get a not guilty verdict, there will almost certainly be riots. Isn't it a sad state of affairs as a country that entire cities have to prepare for a hurricane of outrage based upon one trial of one individual in Minneapolis, Minnesota? I have to be concerned about what's going to happen in my neighborhood here in New York. You, wherever you are across the country, in cities, even in towns now, there have been a series of BLM protests / riots in places that you never would have expected before last summer, and it very well could happen again. If you look at the crime data for where law enforcement feels like they've been put on their back feet, where there are fewer arrests being made and where violence has been going up, it's across the country. It's not just the major cities. It's not just the Democrat enclaves. You can't think to yourself, well, I live in a red area, or I live in a place where Second Amendment rights still count, so I don't have to worry about this. You never know. Did anybody believe that Kenosha, Wisconsin, would be the site of extreme riots and, dare I say, unrest? We have to find a better term. We've got riots, which is more applicable. Unrest feels sanitized to me. I don't like calling these things unrest. I will say it sometimes just because it's in our lexicon and we don't have that many terms for this. Anarchy, mayhem, those are better words. Those are more descriptive of what's really going on. But isn't it sad that there is already, you can feel it, there is an acceptance of the almost inevitability here of riots. And what about the people who are harmed by this? What about the individuals who will lose their livelihoods, their stores, perhaps be attacked themselves physically? What about the law enforcement officers who serve their communities with honor and integrity and courage, who are going to have rocks thrown at their faces, bottles of urine splashed all over them? What about them? Oh, no. Do you think that there will be a focus on them? Do you think that there will be honest coverage from the media? Our media are cheering on the arsonists literally now. That's what actually happens. And it's not just the media, it's the Democrat Party at the very top. They excuse it. There should be a disdain. There should be a loathing of riots. People should be embarrassed that there was a riot in their town, in their city, and in any way connected to their political ideology or their party. BLM should have to say immediately, we have no part in riots. We condemn it unequivocally. It's wrong. But no, they use terms like resistance or rebellion as if they're fighting, the British monarch in 1776 all over again. This is not a rebellion. This is destruction. This is rage. I hope it does not happen. I hope it doesn't occur. But we all know that it's expected and it will be excused. They are setting the groundwork for it right now. This was from over the weekend. You could see, 60 Minutes had a piece. Producer Mark, if we have this one, let me know. 60 Minutes did a commercial to let you know what they're covering. We're going into a week here where it's expected BLM and Antifa will burn whole city blocks to the ground, most likely. That's the expectation. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Maybe it doesn't happen. But if you were a betting man or woman, what do you think you would place your wager on? What do you think you would do? Here's what 60 Minutes said here's what they were covering on Sunday. I want you to listen very closely. As we're preparing for anarchy, riots, destruction, mayhem, America's most storied news program, the Journos want to tell you about this. Play it.
They have chapters all across America and were at the center of the attack on the Capitol. Who are the Oath Keepers?
A large percentage have tactical training and operational experience in either the military or law enforcement.
60 Minutes tonight.
Yeah. The Oath Keepers. Everyone knows that the trial ends this week. Everyone knows that we could have a verdict in a matter of days. And 60 Minutes wants its audience, wants the American people, millions and millions of them who still unfortunately watch that garbage, to be afraid of the Oath Keepers. One thing I can tell you for damn certain is that it's not going to be the Oath Keepers who are burning down neighborhoods. I don't know about this group. I don't care about this group. The point is, they're not the ones who are going to be burning down city blocks if it happens. And we all know it. It will be people acting in the name of BLM and Antifa. It will be people who are ideologically of the left. And by the way, this has nothing to do. Are there bad people on the right? Of course. Are there bad groups on the right? Yeah. But the exaggeration of the equivalency of the threat to Main Street, to everyday communities from these groups right now is absurd. But you see, they're doing this for several reasons. One is, of course, any panic porn about right-wing militant groups in America, the liberal journos, they believe this nonsense. They think that there's another insurrection coming any moment. They act like we were just a hair's breadth away from losing our government and all this sort of stuff. But the truth is, there's more to it than just the getting ratings and pushing this story that scares people. There's also creating a sense. This is at the underlying level, creating a sense that, well, they have their militants on the right, so I guess we, the Democrat Party, with BLM and Antifa, we have to have ours too. So it's justified, you see. I mean, we've got to say whatever we have to defend the actions of the militant left because of this jury trial in Minnesota. Because otherwise we'll just be handing the country over to the Oath Keepers. As if that's a serious thing, as if that's this is not an accident. They plan these things out. They've known about the trial. 60 Minutes is covering that. They're covering it in this way because they're trying to shape perception right now. They're trying to let people on the left, they're trying to let Biden voters live in the delusion, because it is a delusion, that the real threat isn't from their side right now. It's from the other side. Sure. As I told you, find me a bet. Find me the Vegas odds, and I will take them on how it will not be this week Oath Keepers. And this is not to, excuse or justify or say I don't even know what this group really believes. I just know that it's not going to be burning down a CVS, a Duane Reade, a Target, looting sneakers, stealing handbags. I know they're not going to be doing that this week. Maybe they'll do some bad thing some other time. Whatever. I don't care right now. I'm worried about the country. But they create the false equivalency because that's useful to them. And then they also stir up the outrage even further to get ratings, to virtue signal, to make sure that they, the journos, the Democrats, the establishment of the left, they aren't part of the problem here. So they will say things that are reckless, that are unfair, and that will only make this situation worse. Here is Chris Cuomo on CNN. Play clip 8.
And you know what the answer is? You really do. You don't like it. I don't like it. It scares me. Shootings, gun laws, access to weapons. I know when they'll change. Your kids start getting killed. White people's kids start getting killed. Smoking that doobie that's actually legal probably in your state now, but they don't know what it was. And then the kid runs and it pop, 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 pop. Cop was justified. Why'd you run? Oh, he had a baseball game tonight. Oh, a white kid. Oh, big family. That house over there. Those start piling up. What is going on with these police? Oh, what? Maybe we shouldn't even have police. That kind of mania, that kind of madness, that'll be you. That'll be the majority, because it's your people. See? Now, black people start getting all guns, forming militias, protect themselves. Can't trust the deep state. Woo-hoo! You'll see a wave of change in access and accountability. We saw it in the 60s. That's when it changes.
Chris Cuomo is a reckless moron, and what he's saying here is untrue, It's idiotic and it's deeply irresponsible. But he works for CNN, which is really morally equivalent now to Pravda in the 1930s. I mean, CNN is a disgusting disgrace of not even journalism. It's not even a good propaganda outlet. They're not even good at it. The people that are saying this stuff aren't smart or talented. It's just a legacy institution that has been corrupted. Whatever it used to stand for in the 80s or 90s, it's always been liberal, but now it's just defiled it. What, white people aren't killed by cops, Chris Cuomo? You utter buffoon. This guy knows nothing about law enforcement. What he does know about is probably all the skirt chasing and grabbing that his brother, the governor of New York, was doing. I'm sure they chatted about that over the years quite a bit. Nothing about law enforcement, nothing about the truth of crime in cities and what cops are dealing with day in and day out, and just racializes this issue in the most disgusting fashion. White people are killed by cops in larger numbers than any other group, by the way. So why is he saying that? Is that really what happens? Someone happens to be smoking a doobie and then cops just shoot them? Is that what happens? Show me an incident of that. Show me one. And then I'll say that Chris Cuomo is not a reckless moron. He is a reckless moron. But he panders. He panders to the cowardly libs who watch CNN in their overwhelmingly safe neighborhoods, voting for Biden and crying about climate change and triple masking and thinking to themselves, oh, I stand in solidarity with BLM, until they hear something in the alleyway nearby. And then you know what they do? They reach for the phone, they call the cops, and they want them to arrive as quickly as possible. And if they don't, they'll write a letter to the mayor because they know somebody. Hey, Team Buck, thank you so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you like this video, please click that little thumbs up button so then it will log as liked. And also, if you want to see more great content from The First, please click subscribe.